Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. Let's crack on with today's first story. From Would I Be the Arsehole Make Mum Homeless, who says, would I be the arsehole for making my mum homeless after what she did to my wife? My mum, Cara, 50s, doesn't hold down jobs. I think she's above working a regular 9 to 5 and is a moocher. She's essentially just lives wherever she can find people willing to let her live for free and spends the little she has from doing odd jobs on booze and drugs. My dad, they divorced over a decade ago, John, finances a lot of her lifestyle. Cara will beg him for money since he's pretty well off, and for some reason, he usually gives it to her. Recently, John bought her an old RV, and she planned to move into it in her parents' backyard and get paid from the state to take care of them as they aren't well. My wife, Diane, 29 female, and I, 35 male, live right next door to Cara's parents, my grandparents. When Cara decided to move down here, we made it clear that we won't be taking care of her financially, and she can't mooch off of us. I explicitly told her she isn't using our laundry or shower or bathroom, electric, address for mail, etc. I told her if she's moving to her parents, they are solely responsible for her. I said that as she tends to try and guilt me into helping her and is very manipulative. Cara decided to put the RV in between my shop and her dad's shop. I did make it clear that she can't plug into our shop as we aren't paying her electric, and we need a main panel upgrade and don't have the power to run her RV. She was fine with that. Also to note, her parents have a room in their house, but some repairs and things need moved, but Cara refuses to do that for free, even if it would get her a place to live. And recently the application for her to get paid to be their caretaker got rejected as she failed the background check. She's slowly running out of money and has tried to mooch off of Diane and I, but we are sticking to our guns saying no. She has heat. There are multiple food banks around. She has a car and is capable of getting a job, just chooses not to. Diane and I also have a 7-month-old son. Diane is breastfeeding and was overproducing a lot for a few months, so she has almost 2,000 ounces of milk in the freezer in our shop. She recently went back to work and is cycling through the stuff in the freezer. Cara texted us this morning saying we should check power to the shop as she plugged in for just a minute a few days ago and it shorted out and she noticed it still isn't working. Today, I got home to Diane bawling as she went out to check and found that the power to the shop was out and all 2,000 ounces had defrosted and had to be thrown away. Diane is not overproducing anymore and is devastated. Cara apparently blew the fuse box at my grandpa's because she turned on the generator while plugged in, so decided she'd just use ours. To say I'm pissed is an understatement. I explicitly told her not to use our power and for it to waste an insane amount of my wife's time and energy make me furious. I text Cara telling her what she did and Cara texts Diane saying she can just switch to formula. I told her we need an apology and Cara texts back saying it's not her fault, we have shitty power. I'm sick of her entitlement and I know it's not legal to live in an RV here. I could report her and they usually give 45 days before the person has to leave. Cara has burned a lot of bridges and mentioned that the only place she has left to live is her car. I want to report her and get her away from us. Would I be the arsehole if I report her and make her homeless? Edit. The RV is between the shops but entirely on my grandparents' property as we wouldn't allow it on ours. Edit 2. We made the report and are going to press charges. And what do we always say, folks? Always press charges. It's incredibly sad. I can only imagine what your wife would be feeling after that. And that is so much milk. You just need to get that person away from your property. They're actively hurting your family. And it just says a lot, really, doesn't it? That she burned every bridge that she's come across. There's consequences to her actions and she needs to find those out pretty damn quick. Silver Raspberry says, I just did some research. Breast milk is worth $3 to $5 per ounce. She cost you $6 to $10K in breast milk, not to mention wear and tear on your wife's body, time and mental health. Mouse and Ladybug says my blood pressure just fucking spiked. I'm so angry for your wife. When I was nursing my first, I pumped one single bottle a day so my spouse could feed baby at bedtime, and even that was torture for me. I'd be fucking in jail for murder if I pumped that much and it went to waste. Not the arsehole at all. Personality says, not the arsehole, your wife lost gallons of milk, and saying just switch the formula is so out of touch. Aqua says, not the arsehole, there is a reason why your mother has little to no connections left with other people. She just made things worse for your household and your mother is acting like it's no big deal. End it now before she does something that could have legal repercussions for you, your wife, and your grandparents. And a final comment from Bad Wolf, who says, I breastfed 3 boys. Was engorged and had to use a pan pump as I couldn't afford an electric one. I tipped over a 4-ounce bottle of breast milk and fell to the floor weeping. Postpartum hormones, anyone? 2,000 ounces. I'd be rabid. I'm pretty pissed on yours behalf. Don't feel bad telling on her. She's broken the law, stomped on your reasonable boundaries of not using your electricity, caused massive damage. 2,000 ounces of love and effort by an aforementioned boundary stomping, and now refuses to acknowledge the damage she's caused. Get her the fuck out of there. She'd do it again if you don't. So OP comes in with her update and says, I got asked for updates a few times, so even though it's been chill, I thought I'd explain what's happened. My wife didn't want to press charges. She has a hard time expressing boundaries and can be a pushover to keep the peace, but I decided we were going to. My mistake was calling my dad to let him know that was the plan. I do have her confession via text. My dad told my mum and she packed up her stuff that same night and left. I have no idea where she went. She sent me a text saying I'm a horrible son who only cares about money, and then she blocked me. We're moving forward with legal action against her, but it's honestly better already with her being wherever she is and not right by my family. We won't be speaking to her again. And absolutely good on you for continuing to press the charges on her, because she doesn't sound like she's going to change at all. Messaging you that you're a horrible son after what she did. I wouldn't be telling the dad anything going forward either. He's constantly enabling her to continue to get away with her bullshit. What has she got over him? That was my question. Why they're divorced, yet he still continues to, help her with her lifestyle. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, before we get into our next story, there is a warning of sexual assault within the story, so if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. And this is from Pasta, who says, am I the arsehole here for being mad at my girlfriend for hanging out with a guy who groped her? My girlfriend, Kate, and I, 22 female, 23 male, have been together for 3 years now. My girlfriend has a friend, Tom, now ex-friend, from college who used to be interested in her and asked her out. But he started dating someone else, and she, this friend, and his girlfriend, Jenna, became great friends of each other. These 3 were extremely open with each other, and they had a group chat where these 3 discussed all sorts of things and made sex jokes. Typical, I thought. However, I drew the line where he shouldn't directly talk about suggestive things with her. This wasn't really something Kate understood, as they've been in each other's lives for years, and she led me to believe I simply couldn't understand their dynamic. I was also extremely uncomfortable with them hanging out alone together. Kate is extremely loyal to me, and I wouldn't say she's the sort of woman to cheat. However, in my opinion, she can be extremely naive, especially when it comes to this person. Tom used to make suggestive jokes, which I disliked, but she used to laugh it off. I picked up on some bad energy from him and do not think he has good intentions when it comes to my girl. My parents took my brothers and I to vacation for 2 weeks, so I wasn't in town. Kate, Tom, and Jenna made plans to hang out together, but then Jenna fell sick last minute, and they had already purchased tickets, so Tom and Kate went together. I raised objections to it and told her not to get drunk around him, but she dismissed me and got angry that I was trying to control her. I was supposed to arrive 4 days after her plans, and Kate didn't message me for the entire 3 days. We both were angry at each other, I assumed. However, when I came back, She invited me to her place and broke down and started apologizing. She confessed that she was so mad at me that she had like 5 shots that night, and she didn't realize when Tom groped her. She slapped him hard in the bar and took an Uber and came home. She said she was ashamed of telling me earlier and that I was right about him. I was trying to really hold myself together and didn't lash out at her or anything. I said that we need to immediately report him to the university authority about what he did, and I will support her. However, I wasn't very open or affectionate with her. She did cut him off and Jenna broke up with Tom. However, I'm extremely furious at Kate for completely dismissing and disregarding my feelings around Tom and getting drunk when I expressed it makes me uncomfortable, on top of them hanging out alone. I'm not trying to victim shame her, but that doesn't mean she gets to learn nothing from this and refuse to have a good sense to know who to trust and who not to. I feel like a total arsehole for even feeling angry at her, but I can't help how I feel. She's picked up on this and I have no idea how to tell her this. ETA, I'm mad at my girlfriend for even being able to trust someone who conducts himself inappropriately. It took her being assaulted to listen to me finally. That's what I'm upset about. Like, she shouldn't have had to have this awful experience in order to finally process every single time I raised concerns about this. This is just terrible. Like, if she got scammed out of her life savings because she trusted a guy over me, when I kept shouting repeatedly not to do that, would I still have compassion for her? I would struggle for empathy at least for some time, because I would consider such a person unreliable to make big decisions in life. I feel disrespected and disgusted with her. How do I hold her responsible for her ignorance? I am so mad at her I want to break up with her. I'm extremely sorry if my post is triggering, but I'm not blaming her for the actions of the douche who groped her without her consent and assaulted her. His actions are entirely his own, and I'm going to make sure to get him fucking booted off campus for what he did. I mean, I don't know how to frame this without being problematic, but she didn't prioritize her safety and acted like a freaking adult for God's sake, and thought it was totally okay to get drunk like that, and that too out of spite. Like, this whole situation tells me that unless she gets to experience the worst of the worst, undeserved consequences, she wouldn't change or listen to me. This isn't someone I want to be with. I just wish she stopped taking my concerns as an affront to her autonomy. Myth Aphrodite says, you aren't mad at her for being sexually assaulted. You're upset your girlfriend didn't place any value in your opinions, words, or thoughts, as if she had no respect for your opinion, words, or thoughts. Commenter replies saying, this right here is the facts. She blew the OP off and disregarded his feelings on the matter, and unfortunately, it turned out bad for her, but thank God it didn't turn out even worse. He needs to sit down with her and let her know how disappointed he feels and betrayed how she disregarded him when he knew something wasn't right. So often women do this and get offended and tell the boyfriend and husband he's insecure. Men know men, and we don't lie when we know exactly what the other man wants out of her. Will's Irish says, not the arsehole, she was drinking and hanging out with a guy that's asked her out and expressed interest in her. Maybe you trust her, but that's inherently untrustworthy behavior. The good news is that this is largely a young person's problem. More mature people rarely have to be told it's not cool to go out drinking with someone that wants to fuck them, while they're in a relationship with someone else. That's so obvious it should never have to be stated out loud. I have a few hard boundaries for romantic relationships that have stood me well over the years. Never date someone who prioritizes her friends over you. It's fine if they're close, but if she's cancelling plans with you in non-emergencies to spend time with them, cut her loose. This will never improve. Never date someone who's friends with ex-lovers. People can say whatever they want about insecurity and control. This is just begging to get cheated on. Same with hanging out with men who want in their pants. Just don't get involved with people who do this. And Becoming Better then says, everyone seems to be overlooking a key thing. She doesn't respect your boundaries. You express discomfort with the sexual innuendo and jokes, and instead of listening or respecting, she minimized it and simply said you couldn't possibly understand their dynamic. Later you expressed a boundary of them being alone together and her drinking. Once again, instead of listening or respecting, she chose her own path. She didn't ignore your boundary, she actively crossed it out of spite. This is a toxic behavior. I don't know you, and I can't judge how you are with her. What I can say is that she will cross boundaries again in the future and spite you. if she feels justified. Let's be honest, she doesn't love you. What she did isn't something a person in love would do. She spent 3 days after supposedly traumatizing experience and she didn't reach out to you. She's not your partner. She's your placeholder. And honestly, you're the same for her. Move on. So OP did update their post and said, I've had time to read all the comments. Most of you were supportive and had a balanced perspective. However, some were uber extreme on both ends. Some called me an evil little misogynist who wants to act like her dad and control her and shame her, and some called her a cheating, repugnant whore. None of the two extremes are true. Lol. I did, however, have fun reading that, so thank you for the laughs. Particularly chuckled at the pearl clutching over the phrase, my girl, when I didn't even think for a second before writing that out. On to the main update. My now ex heard back from health and counselling services that will guide her to seek support and hold Tom accountable. Probably intense sensitivity training and detention based on the degree of the assault. My days weren't so great as you can tell. I was willing to give her a chance and move forward with her. And at first I requested full disclosure, including as to why she didn't get in touch with me over those 3 days. She was extremely hesitant in showing me her chats with him, in which she accused him of being inappropriate with her that crossed the line. Tom was apologetic and told her that he was too drunk and didn't know what he was doing. At first she didn't believe that and was scared about how Jenna would think. This made her rethink and she almost excused his actions away and decided not to tell me. But then she changed her mind and told Jenna immediately, and then she told me. This shouldn't feel like a breach of trust, but it did, because she was this close to being willfully ignorant again. I was extremely upset at her and asked her what makes her so blind to the obvious. I really wanted to know what goes inside her mind that she continues to make these epically bad decisions. I decided that fine, I'll let her take this as a learning experience and told her that she needs to take me seriously too. Because despite what happened, her being sexually assaulted doesn't negate that she has continued to disrespect me and I expect better from her as a partner. This angered her greatly and she expressed that I'm not her dad, emphasizing her right to make mistakes. She even had the fucking audacity to suggest she didn't feel like an equal partner, insinuating I shouldn't be holding her accountable for her actions, precisely when I consistently downplay my concerns and making me feel small. Oh, sweet irony. Look, I may not be the best, most compassionate person in the world, but I don't need someone who arrogantly dismisses my concerns as some petty, abusive, trashy, obsessed jealousy in the relationship, as if I'm the crazy one. I don't care what modern day world believes, but I stubbornly believe that relationship isn't about making selfish choices that affect your partner too. It isn't about one person, it's about two people who at least acknowledge comfort of their partner in decision making. Look, I know I'm just in college, but I honestly at least imagine her as my future wife, my loved one. However, I don't need my loved one to dismiss my concerns about her safety that affect me too as controlling. If I stayed in a relationship with her, no doubt she'll find excuses about not feeling like an equal and use that to call me controlling, an opportunity I refuse to give her by breaking up with her. I don't need my partner to make me out to be the male equivalent of a nagging shrew, where she's the ball and I'm the chains in the relationship. It just makes me cringe hard about unintentionally taking that role in the relationship just because from my point of view, her actions came from a place of willful ignorance, spite, and lack of respect for our relationship. And I think I can never have a high opinion of Kate unless she changes as part of her personality, which would be unfair given her awfully limited understanding of her surroundings. If I stayed with her, she'd complain about being treated like a child most probably because I'll see her as acting like one, going about drinking to spite her partner, and not being able to recognize and put boundaries around inappropriate conduct, and that's exhausting. Maybe I'm wrong for saying that, but I sincerely hope she grows into an emotionally mature individual who doesn't feel the need to retaliate like a child when her so-called autonomy feels threatened just because her loved one is trying to look out for her. Peace. Now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories, your love, your support, your time. always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being involved. And don't forget, at the very end of the video, there'll be a couple of playlists there that you can click on, and it will automatically scroll through all the videos for you. So thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.